Let's take another look at surface area of nets. So we already have the nets laid out and the numbers out there. What we want to remember is the different properties for rectangles and rectangular prisms. So remembering that opposite sides of a rectangle are congruent, they're the same length. So when I'm looking at this, if this bottom side is 12, then the top of this rectangle is also 12. What I also need to note is that if I were to fold these together, these two sides right here would match up. So I'm going to highlight this left side here, which would be 12, which means the opposite side here on the right is also 12. That's already listed. So the left and right are congruent. Which means, again, if these two folded together, this right here would be 12. If the bottom is 12, the top is 12. And just like we said on the bottom, when we fold these two together, they're the same length. When we fold these two together, they are the same length. So they're both going to be 12. Now let's look at this measure here of 22. If the bottom of this rectangle is 22, the top of this rectangle is 22. Which means if the bottom of this rectangle is 22, the top of this rectangle is 22. If the bottom of this rectangle is 22, the top of this rectangle is 22. I also see the measure of 22 over here. If the bottom is 22, the top is 22. You'll notice a pattern here. It goes 12, 22, 12, 22. It alternates like that. And it should always do that. And then the last measure that I see is this side length of 30. If the left side of the rectangle is 30, the right side is 30. If the left is 30, the right is 30. If the left is 30, the right is 30. If the left is 30, the right is 30. So all of those are 30. So there should only be 3 different side lengths. Okay, and you're going to see a similar setup every single time we do these problems. It alternates 12, 22, 12, 22. We have the same height of all of those rectangles. Then we really should have 3 sets of rectangles, which is why we have rectangle number 1, number 2, number 3. So let's look at actually calculating these areas. So if I look at this rectangle right here, we have a base of 12 and a height of 30. So I'm going to plug in 12 times 30 and I get 360. This next rectangle right here, I have a base of 22 and a height of 30. So I'm going to do 22 times 30, which is 660. My next rectangle right here, I have a base of 12, a height of 30, so I'm doing 12 times 30, which is 360. And over here we have a base of 22 and a height of 30, so I do 22 times 30, which equals 660. What you should notice with these 4 going across here, it alternates 360, 660, 360, 660. And then these last ones down here, I have a base of 22, a height of 12. So I'm doing 22 times 12 is 264. Up here, I have a base of 22 and a height of 12, which is also 264. So what we say when we have 3 sets is you should notice I have a set of 360, a set of 660, and a set of 264. And it always alternates. 360, something else. 360, something else. 660, something else. 660. 264, something else. 264. They alternate every other one. So let's say 360 is rectangle number 1. We should have 2 of those, which we have right here. 660 can be rectangle number 2. We should have 2 of those. And 264 is rectangle number 3. We should have 2 of those. So I'm just adding these both together, all of these together. 360 plus 360 plus 660 plus 660 plus 264 plus 264, and I get 2,568. And our units are inches squared. So let's look at another like that. I'm going to go through and I'm going to highlight my sides and label those. So a reminder, if this is 10, the top is 10. It should also connect with the side where we would fold it together. So this is also 10. If the left side is 10, the right side of both of those are 10. And then these two should fold together. So this side is also 10, which means the top is also 10. Now, when I'm looking at this, I'm going to find my next length. So let's start here with 33. If the bottom is 33, the top is 33. If the bottom is 33, the top is 33. And the top here is 33. I also see the measure of 33 over here. And the top should also be 33. And then the last side length, I see that this height is 50. If the left side's 50, the right side's 50. If the left side's 50, the right side's 50. If the left side's 50, the right side's 50. If the left side is 50, the right side is 50. Then we're going to go through and we're going to calculate the areas of each part. So for this rectangle, we've got base of 10 times a height of 50. If I plug that in, I get 500. For our next one, we have a base of 33 times a height of 50 equals 1,650. For this next one, we have a base of 10 and a height of 50. We get 500. For this one, we have a base of 33 times a height of 50. We get 1,650. And then these ones down here, base of 33, height of 10. we get 330. Up here, 33 times 10 will give us 330. So we should have these alternating lengths. 500, 1650. 500, 1650. 330, and 330 on the top. So if my rectangle number 1 is 500, I should have 2 of those. I do. So 500 plus 500. My rectangle number 2, maybe I'm picking 1650. I should have 2 of those, and I do. And my last one, 330, I should have 2 of those, and I do. And then I'm just going to add those up. 500 plus 500 plus 1650 plus 1650 plus 330 plus 330 equals 4,960. And our units are inches squared.